Hi, church. This is Pastor Scott, and I wanted to reach out to you today to share a couple important things coming up. The first is very exciting, and it's that your pastors and elders and staff have decided that it's time for us to return to Sunday morning worship on August the 16th. Now, some of you are saying, yay, I'm so happy and glad, and you should have never stopped in the first place. Some of you are saying, I can't believe you're doing this already. And many of you are probably somewhere in the middle and trying to figure out what to think or feel about that. And many of you may be asking, why now? What's happening that would cause you to do that? We have been waiting, as you know, because the state of Arizona has been one of the most difficult hit states. And so as our numbers spiked, we continued to decide not to meet as we became one of the hot spots. And now we are seeing our numbers get quite a bit better, and we're encouraged by that. I wish they were even better than they are, but they are better. And one of the things that all leaders, whether it's in education or the ministry or leading any organization right now, is having to sort of balance is, of course, one of our highest priorities, and the whole reason we've been doing this in the first place, is to not overwhelm our healthcare systems and to care for our neighbors and to love them well, to love our city well. But one of the things we're really feeling as pastors and elders in the church is also this balance of caring for people emotionally and spiritually in this moment. And we're hearing from a lot of you who are really struggling right now and are feeling isolated, and there's a lot of sadness and a feeling of isolation. And so we feel like for many of you, there's a strong desire to have an in-person experience. And if that's you, then we're really excited to offer that on August 16th on Sunday morning. On our website, there's a sign up and all the details are there. And also, if you're in our weekly update email, that will have all the information for you as well. But go to newvalleychurch.org if you're needing more information about August 16th. We want to do this in a way that is incredibly helpful and healthy. And so we're going to be limiting our numbers on Sunday morning. We're going to be wearing masks. We are going to be spreading out as well and cleaning the building very, very well and doing all that we can. There will also not be childcare initially. We're going to be waiting on that as well. But friends, for those of you who are longing to do this, we're so excited to offer this and to have an in-person worship experience. For those of you who are high risk and not able to come, I want you to know, and those of you who are just not emotionally ready to come back, we are going to continue to make our online worship service the highest priority as well. And so regardless, though, if New Valley is your church home and you would count us as your church, what I want to say to you is in this moment, we want you to be worshiping in one of these ways, whether that's online or in person, to make worship one of your highest priorities right now. We realize that the online experience, as good as it is difficult at times. But what we're hearing from so many of you is this sense of spiritual drifting and the challenge of working out your faith right now in the midst of being isolated and not having community. So would you please make worship one of your highest priorities right now? The second thing goes very much in line with this, what I've been talking about, which is we're going to start a series that I'm extremely excited about on August the 30th, and it's called Beyond Surviving, Intentional Faith in the Midst of Chaos. Beyond Surviving, Intentional Faith in the Midst of Chaos. And one of the things I've noticed in my own life, but in my friends, and then especially at church and just talking to people, is that when we first experienced this crisis of this virus, everyone has been in sort of survival mode. And it's kind of like, how do we have a healthy marriage right now, considering everything that's going on? And rather than actually working on your marriage and improving it, we've just been in survival mode. Same with our parenting. How on earth can we educate our kids and care for them spiritually and all this stuff? And they're stuck at home, and now they're having all the schooling issues. And how do we parent well in this moment? And instead of dealing with it and actually strengthening your parenting right now, there's a sense of just living in survival mode. If you're single and and trying to navigate all the ways in which that might mean the loneliness of being single and being disconnected from community and just like kind of getting into a rut and living in this sort of survival mode financially, physically, with our eating habits. But as it relates to the church and our faith, many of us have been in survival mode spiritually and emotionally, and it's impacting our parenting and our relationships and our singleness and our marriages and all these different relations and our work and a number of other things. And so during this time, we're going to be having a series where we're talking and bringing the gospel to bear on these issues to say, friends, it's time to get out of survival mode. We've had several months of where life has been utterly different, but the fact is it's not going to get much different or much better anytime very soon. And so we cannot live our lives just in bare survival mode for the next 9 months. We just can't. If you've been drifting spiritually, friends, it's time to come back to church, whether either physically on Sunday mornings, carefully, or online, and to stop the drift. One of the things we also want to do during this this series, not survival, during this series, starting the first week of September, is go on a 60-day experience together as a whole church where we will be studying the Gospel of John together. And also we'll have prayer guides along with that where we'll read the Gospel of John. We'll study it together. We'll be doing some journaling together. And we actually have a gift we want to give you that is a copy of the Gospel of John along with a journal as well as a prayer book that we're going to be putting together with several authors and people from New Valley, both downtown and Chandler congregation, and walk together for 2 months up to Advent, an experience of studying the Bible together and praying prayers together as a community. And even though we'll be doing it individually and as families and having family worship even, we'll be doing this like community-wide and calling each other to this. And so I am super excited for this spiritual formation experience together, to be discipling one another, to encourage one another spiritually. And friends, let's get out of the survival mode. For you folks who are thinking about maybe whether to come back on Sunday morning, one of my good friends in ministry is Luke Simmons at Gateway Church. And when he was talking to his church about whether to come back or not, he was talking about this idea of how the fact is many of us are taking many risks in our lives right now. And let's face it, going out in public right now involves risk. Even if you wear a mask, even if you're careful, there is a certain amount of risk. And if you're not in a high risk category, in a sense, we're all having to calculate our risk levels at some level. And there's an economy of that. And you spend some risk here, going to Costco, you spend some risk at the grocery store. You may spend the risk by hanging out with a group of people in their home. But would you reserve some of that, and not to be overly risky or to risk other people's lives, but in your own life, knowing where you are health-wise, would you reserve some of that for the church, for worshiping together, if we are careful in doing this wisely? Would you pray about that and think about that? But regardless, either way, let's make worship together as a church a very, very high priority again. And I feel like we were doing a really strong job of that in the beginning, but this summer it's gotten more difficult. I want to call us back to that as a community. Church, I love you. All the details are online. It's in that email as well. If you're needing more information, you can reach out to us via email in the church. We'll be happy to get it to you about Sunday morning, August 16th. And I really look forward to the upcoming series on August 30th. And may God bless you and keep you. And I'll talk to you soon. God bless you.